So welcome back. Am I audible and is the screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I will start now. Fine. So all of you look at here. You can see the node MCU connected here. And you can also see the CoAP client here. The CoAP client is provided by the Californium tools. For example, I will show you. This is the Californium tools running in the command prompt. So under the Californium tools, you have a CoAP client. The CoAP client is available here. And if you look into the setup, right, as I already told, right, there are two LEDs. One is in the near to the USB cable, another in the top. So in this node MCU is acting as a CoAP server. Californium tool is acting as a CoAP client. When I click the discovery, right, I am able to see two resources behind them, D0 and D4. Okay, two resources behind them. And I can give a digital input like a 0. And if I click the put button, it has to be right. You can see in the bottom side, some actions are going on. Right? In the bottom side, some actions are going on. And if you see, when this response was received by the node MCU, the respective, look at here, the respective informations will be displayed in the box. For your information, I will copy them in a notepad and then show you, right, what are the things that are communicated. So you can see the token ID, you can see the message ID, fine. The timestamp along with the UDP connector, the CoAP message, whatever the things, right? The message ID. Can you see from where you got the message? 192.168.43.187 is the node MCU IP address, which is the IP address of your CoAP server, and it is providing the service through 5683 port number. Fine. So all these informations you were able to capture in the debug terminal, and you will be able to pass the information also. For example, if you select the light LED and if you pass this payload 0, you can see the LED should be switched on. I will show you that, right? The LED gets switched on in the node MCU because light and light LED are the two LEDs, onboard LEDs, right, available in your node MCU. As we already discussed, it is a negative logic. When you say 0, it will be switched on. When you say 1, it will be switched off. Correct? So I can also switch off by providing the payload 1. And if I click the put button, and you can see they get switched off. And the response is also noted here. Whatever I put OK, it was responded. And in the debug, right, you can get all this information. So my request is, don't worry about this. When you find time, if you go through the material provided by me, and if you follow the installation instructions, definitely you will be able to set up a small IoT environment with the COAP tools. COAP is a very, very powerful, lightweight application layer protocol for constrained devices. Okay, so before moving to the WebSocket, any queries from your side? Now we are going to discuss about the WebSocket. All the sample code, everything, right? I will be able to share through your coordinator. So look at here. I had given the SSID password. Okay. And now we are moving into the WebSocket. So the WebSocket need a Node.js server also. Like a web server, I am running a WebSocket server through a Node.js. Okay. So I'm running that in my laptop. That is why I had provided the server address as my laptop address, 43.67. 43.67 is my laptop address. For example, if I run the advanced IP scanner, you will be able to understand. Wait for a few minutes. In the meantime, I will upload this program to the Node MCU, and at the same time, you can see what is the outcome of advanced IP scanner. So in the advanced IP scanner, when I scan 43.1 to 43.254, I expect the various devices connected to my network. So I got my laptop 43.67. My laptop name is WAN Personal. I got one mobile phone 43.7 in which the camera is attached. We are showing the Droid.cam, right? That is done through a mobile phone. And I need to have one hardware, right? The Node MCU hardware, as well as Node MCU hardware and other things. So look at here, this will populate, right? Whenever the hardware gets connected, this will populate all the informations. Now I will check, right? The WebSocket server program is uploaded into the hardware, and I will verify whether I am able to get connected. Yes, I got connected, and my IP address is 43.167, and the handshake connection is failed now. WebSocket server connection is failed now. Okay, so the reason is I didn't start that Node.js based WebSocket server. So I have to start that WebSocket server, right? So that information is also available in this demo. I'm also just following the things given in this demo. So where is the WebSocket server? Just a minute. Okay. So it is under right program files, Node.js. I have to run the command called node space WebSocket example.js. Okay, right. So noted down. So all this information is available here. Now I go to a command prompt. Previously, I have a command prompt in which the COAP client is running. So I will terminate that COAP client. Okay. So the COAP client gets terminated, and I wish to run the Node.js server. So first I'm going to a command prompt, opening the command prompt in the administrator board. Moving to the program files, moving to the Node.js, and then I try to run node space WebSocket example. WebSocket example, right? So look at here, till now, the Arduino is saying not connected, right? It is not able, connection failed, handshake failed. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this WebSocket. Okay, yeah, it's connected, and the new client is also connected. Okay, so the remaining thing is, right, the handshake success. Everything is fine. Handshake is also successful. I'm able to get this information. I will put in a notepad. Okay, so connecting to WAN Wi-Fi connected, IP address is 43.187, and it is connected with the WebSocket server also. The handshake is also successful. Fine. So everything is fine. Now going to the, I need one tool, right, to test my service. So going to the Google Chrome, I want to run a WebSocket client. All of you look at the arrow, it says extension, right? When I click that extension, I have a simple WebSocket client, right? When I click the symbol WebSocket client, I will be able to get a WebSocket client. So look at the protocol, it is WS. It is WS, that means WebSocket, not HTTP, not CoWAP. So in the WebSocket, what I have to do, I have to post 192.168.43.67 : for temporary purpose, I had given the port number as 3000. Okay, for testing purpose. 67 is my laptop in which the WebSocket server is running in the background in the port number 3000. When I click open, I'm able to open the connection, and if I go to the COM port, okay, if I go to the COM port, I should be able to get some information, whatever I am passing here. For example, if I type good evening professors, and if I click send, it should be reflected in the hardware also. This is what I'm expecting. So in the hardware also, I got good evening professors. Hardware may be at any place. Only thing is it should be connected through network. It may be internet or intranet. So whatever the information I am pushing is reflected immediately without getting any, without waiting for any request from the WebSocket client. Who is your WebSocket client? The Node MCU hardware is your WebSocket client. the Node.js WebSocket server is running in your laptop, whenever it has some message for you from the simple WebSocket client, it will immediately pass the information. Clear? Okay. Now all of you look at here. I had connected the analog signal, right? I had connected an analog signal to the NodeMCU hardware, and so I expect 1024 as the broadcast value because I had connected to 5 volt. 2 power 10 is 1024. Fine. Now I am removing that connection. It drops to a value very near to 0. The value which we are getting is around 28. Now I connect this to ground. Actually, when I connect to ground, I expect 0 volt. Due to some error, right, what I'm getting is digital 12 instead of 0. So it varies from 0 to 1024 by simply doing some changes, right, in any one of the client side. For example, in this client side, I'm saying, good evening, organizers. If I click the send button, immediately it will be reflected, right, in the opposite party of the WebSocket client. So there is no request, there is no any kind of simplex communication. It is a full duplex. That means server can send, server can receive, client can send, client can receive. It is a full duplex, persistent connection. Unless you close the connections, the collections will be live. Now, I changed that wire to 1024. You can see it is updated in the WebSocket client as well as in the hardware. Who is pushing the message? The hardware is actually pushing the message. The sensor value. Who is receiving the sensor value? Simple WebSocket client as the Chrome extension is receiving. Who is in between? The WebSocket server implemented through Node.js running in your laptop. Instantaneous message passing, right, is possible. Suppose if I want to send some message from a simple WebSocket client to the hardware, it is also possible. Okay, so I'm sending some message called exit. When I click this message, the same thing, right? The broadcast, it says exit. A message was sent by one of the WebSocket clients. So what we demonstrated was a simple model. There is no authentication, authorization. You can add some layers, security and other things so that only authorized people can send the message. Only the authorized people will be able to receive the message also. So with that, I will conclude the demonstration related with MQTT and the COAP, and 2 minutes for the participants to raise the queries before moving to the cloud integration part. Some questions or feedback for next session. Are you comfortable? How long we can take to complete? Please inform me.
Sir.
Yes, please.
Is it possible to recap briefly, sir, this demonstration?
Yes, sir. I will show you.
Please, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, first, all the informations are available in this PPT.
Yes, sir.
Fine, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you have to run a WebSocket server implemented through Node.js, or you can use any program, Python, whatever right you have. So the WebSocket server should be running in the background.
Yes, sir.
And yes, sir. And you need one hardware. The hardware setup is also shown here. So the hardware setup is shown here. So the hardware is acting as one WebSocket client, pushing the sensor value, as well as it is able to receive some messages also.
Okay, sir. From WebSocket, sir.
Next is WebSocket. Next is in the opposite side of the WebSocket server, you have another client called Symbol WebSocket client, which is an extension to your Google Chrome. So the Symbol WebSocket client connected to the web server through 43.67:3000, it gets connected.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This information, sir, this URL information will get from debug, no, sir?
No, when you run the WAN, when you run the advanced IP scanner, you can see what is your laptop address because you are running the server in your laptop.
Yes, sir.
Suppose if you are running a server in a Raspberry Pi, what you will do? You have to give the IP address of your Raspberry Pi. That's all.
Yes, sir.
So whatever the device where you are running the WebSocket server has to be mentioned here. Yeah, that's all, sir.
Okay, sir.
So this server location has to be properly labeled with the IP address or the host name in which the WebSocket server is running. Where you had mentioned that in the hardware, I will highlight that portion, sir. In the hardware also, you have to mention where is your WebSocket server. Okay. Can you see the highlighted portion?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So server can be run anywhere in the world. Only thing is it should be connected by your client.
Yes, sir.
Fine, sir. So now what we are doing is in the WebSocket say client, suppose if I'm sending a thanks message, okay, look at here in the Arduino, particularly in the COM port, right? Particularly in the COM port, it should be able to receive the messages without sending any request. That is more important.
So without sending any request, sir?
Any request. Now you look at here, the Arduino board is not sending any request, right? It is simply pushing some sensor value. That's all.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
So all the sensor value were received by whom? Your WebSocket client. Am I right?
Sir.
Which is in the opposite side of the server.
Sir, here our WebSocket server is pushing the data thanks to all, no, sir?
No, till I didn't click the send button.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right. So once I click the send button, you can see your opposite party is able to get that information. Thanks to all.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir, can you tell who are all the three entities here?
2 clients, one web server, sir. WebSocket
exactly, server. Sir. Exactly, sir. So I'm having these 3 entities, right? So can you see all the 3 entities? The Node MCU as a one WebSocket client, which is pushing the sensor value. And the server running in the background in the laptop. And one more client, Symbol WebSocket client. So it is able to receive all the signals sent by the hardware, actual hardware, through the WebSocket server. Whenever the symbol web client try to send some information, say thanks to all, yes. If it is sent, immediately you can see that response in your actual hardware also. So in that way, without waiting for any HTTP request, right, the WebSocket is able to push the dynamic information to all its clients who are connected to it. By providing proper authentication and authorization, you can also say this particular information should be passed on to this particular client only. Currently, I have no such a restriction. Whoever puts the information, that will be passed on to all the client. Later on, if you want, right, you can also add some kind of security. Through the security mechanism, you can also restrict who are all the people they can receive the information, who are all the people they will not be able to receive particular information, right? All these things are possible. To conclude, it is a persistent, full duplex, dynamic connections without waiting for any request. If Ram says hello to Ganesh, immediately, without waiting for any request from the Ganesh, the WebSocket server will push, hello Ganesh, you have a message from Ram. The message payload is hello. The message payload is thanks to all. So immediately, the dynamic information will be passed on to the respective clients. Is it okay, sir? Is it clear?
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Now I got a clear idea about this.
Fine, sir. Thank you, sir. So all the sample code, everything will be also shared to you, sir. So you can try by yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. So I will give a 2 minutes short break for you to digest these concepts before moving to the integration with the cloud. Particularly, we are going to use the ThinkSpeak. You can have a deep breath, relax your minds. You can close your eyes for a few minutes.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so welcome back. Shall we take another 30 minutes? Are you comfortable?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine, thank you. So I will close some of the.
जाते हैं ना वहाँ नहीं चल जाते हैं.
Okay, fine. So this session will be also very interesting. I hope so this is related with the integration of IoT end device with the edge and cloud infrastructure. This PPT will be also shared to you. Am I audible and is the screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So we have one of the company, right, had given a good demo with the ThinkSpeak through this YouTube. I will show you the live demonstration with the YouTube also, with the ThinkSpeak also. ThinkSpeak is a very good platform for beginners. Yesterday also, Professor had shown a demo with the ThinkSpeak only, right? I hope he had given an idea on the environmental monitoring, weather monitoring, right? Through the ThinkSpeak. He is able to show some of the visualization, data visualization through the ThingSpeak. So the ThingSpeak is a very good platform for IoT-based projects. It has analyze, visualize, and acts by a triggering action. So this is the simple application for you. All of you look at here. We have a node MCU connected with the LM35 temperature sensor. It has a 3-pin, one connected to VCC, another connected to ground. And the central pin is the actual signal out. Signal out will be connected to the A0 pin of the node MCU. Wiring diagram is over. Next. So you have to create an account on the thingspeak.com. And after creating an account, you should be able to go to the channels menu, click on the new channel, give a name for the channel. Each channel will have 8 fields. And you can make the channel as a public view. The next thing is, after creating the channel and after identifying which field you are going to upload, how many parameters you are going to upload. For example, if you need to upload 3 parameters, you need 3 fields under one channel. You can also say which location your hardware is available. You will be provided with 2 unique keys, one for writing into the cloud, another for reading the data from the cloud. So write API key and read API key are the 16-digit hex code. Through the API key, channel number, field number, you can uniquely identify a particular data. In the morning, under the identification, we discuss about this. Next. I will quickly give you an idea about the code. So we had included the header file, ESP8266 Wi-Fi client. Am I audible? Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir. Program screen is visible, sir.
Yes, thank you. So the SSID password you all know. I had connected the LM35 to analog pin A0. Now the most important thing, make a note of that, the channel number, which is going to uniquely identify your hardware. And the write API key.
Sir, what is the number?
Channel number. Can you see my channel number? Where it is available?
Yes, sir.
I will show you. The channel number is available here. Can you see 569084?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this is the ThingSpeak screen, right? I have logged into that, and this is the ThingSpeak screen. My channel ID is 569084. You can create your own login and identify what is your channel number, what is your API keys. So the API keys.
Okay, sir.
You can see the
API
keys are 0OEDH26 something, some 16-digit character. Similarly, I will give a read API keys also. So I have to make a note of all these things. It has to be implemented in my program. Now I go to my program. Okay. So all of you look at here. I'm going to load my Arduino with the ThingSpeak code. As I already told, I will share all this code to you through a zip file. Right. So I had loaded the ThingSpeak code also. It's very, very simple also. For your information, whatever I am going to upload, I will store in a notepad and then explain to you. This is the original code, right? What we are having. So I had given the Wi-Fi SSID password, everything. Fine. The most important thing, the channel number. So the channel number should be properly mentioned by you in the hardware. Actually, the channel number is a unique number provided by whom? The service provider, cloud service provider. Apart from that, they will also provide you the write API key as well as read API key. So you have to go to the ThingSpeak cloud site, note down your write API key, copy them, and then paste in the code part. So your write API key should be here. Clear? Fine. So I got furnished two information, channel number, write API key. Okay. The two more parameter, all of you write. This is very, very important sentence here. The sentence is also displayed here. ThingSpeak.write field. I will increase the font also. ThingSpeak.write field. What are the four parameters we are passing? My channel number, which is available in the cloud service, cloud UI. The next thing is the field number. For example, in the public view, if you see in the first field 1, right, I am having the temperature. So the field number is 1, channel number is 569084. All these informations, right, were already in the coding part. I had given the channel number, field number, and what is this? This is the actual payload, the temperature. You can give any variable name, the actual payload. Followed by my write API key. Who provided this write API key? The API key is provided by the cloud service provider. So only 4 parameters you need: channel number, field number, payload, and the API key, write API key. So all these things were provided, and for every 15 seconds, you will be able to upload the data to the cloud. If you are a paid subscriber, then you will be able to load even within few milliseconds is possible. All the unpaid subscribers should have a minimum delay of 15 seconds between two subsequent data pushing. Fine. So with this, we will upload this code to the hardware, and we will verify whether we will be able to get the data. If the internet connection is good, immediately we will get the reflection in the cloud service also. So wait for a few minutes. We are downloading the code into the Node MCU. The hex file generated by this compiler, Arduino compiler, is loaded into the Node MCU. Loading was completed, and in the debug port, I will verify whether I am able to push the data into the ThingSpeak or not. Okay. Can any one of you tell why I am getting non-printable character in the debug terminal? Any one of you? See, in the program I got told serial begin 9600. In the COM port I got set 115200. There is a mismatch, communication mismatch. So I have to bring both into the same speed, 9600 baud rate, and right, if I click, I will be able to get the value 3300. Okay, so for every, I hope you are able to see that 330. For every 15 seconds, this value will be generated, will be acquired, and it will be tried to pushed into the cloud. We will verify whether we are able to get the value or not. This is the ThingSpeak. So we were able to get the information Friday, May 7th. The value was 330, right? Now, what I'm going to do is, I will change the wire to 0 volt. Okay, I had changed it to 0 volt. It should be reflected shortly, right? Yeah, now we got only 00 something, right? 003. Can you see the changes in the UI? Any one of you please respond?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So whatever the changes we had done in the hardware, right, gets immediately reflected. Okay, no problem. The hardware setup is similar. There is no much difference. So you can see that initially the temperature was connected to 5 volt. So 3030. Now it becomes near to 0, right? Some value near to 0, because there will be some error, digital error. We have to calibrate that point also. So the sensor calibration is also playing the major role in sensing the vital parameters. Okay. Now I am connecting that to 5 volt. So after 15 seconds, it should be able to rise to 330. Wait for some time. These are all the points where different values were measured. Now it gets rise to the full voltage. The delay, right, is due to unpaid subscription. If you are very particular about the real-time demonstration, you can subscribe to the ThingSpeak in a paid way. You can avoid that 15 seconds delay. I hope any queries from your side. I had explained the hardware wiring. I had explained the code, and I had explained, right, the UI part in the ThingSpeak also. Any doubts or any queries from your side before proceeding further? So it's regularly updating, right?
No queries, sir.
Any kind of queries you can raise, sir. I hope now we had integrated our end device, right, to the hardware. The end device is perfectly right, able to push the data at every 15 seconds. It is able to push the data at every 15 seconds. And you are right. Just a minute. Okay, so the hardware is here, the end device, cloud is there. We will be able to integrate. We will be able to integrate the end device with the cloud immediately, right? Fine. Now we will try to go for a simple analytics provided by the MATLAB associated with the ThingSpeak. Fine. So the example code which we are going to use is, are you comfortable? Shall we proceed for the data analysis for next 5 minutes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So we are going to calculate and display some average value. It is already right available in the ThingSpeak. So the ThingSpeak is a powerful cloud tool for the beginners. You can do a lot of real-time applications also making use of the ThingSpeak. So look at here, what are the things you have to do? You have to say, what is your channel ID? Your channel ID is 569084. What is your field ID? Your field ID is 1. What is your read API key?
Write API key, no, sir.
No,
Payload
for
and the next
analytics you have to read. For analytics you have to read. Got it?
Okay, sir.
Through the
Okay,
hardware
sir.
you
Okay,
will
sir.
through the hardware you will write into the cloud. Okay. To do the analytics you have to read from the cloud. Therefore, we need the write API keys. Sorry, read API keys. Where is the read API key? You can write.
ThingSpeak we will get, sir, from ThingSpeak.
Yeah, from the ThingSpeak, right? Okay. So I didn't store that actually. Okay, we will copy from here. Okay, and then push the information here. Fine. So everything is now done. So I want to save and run. So it says that average value is 271. Many times we got 300, 0, something, right? We push between them. So it says that the average value is 271.6429. You can also print minimum, maximum. These are all simple MATLAB code. Okay. I hope most of the electronics people will have a good idea about the MATLAB code also. Fine. So we did the analytics also using the data. So what else? Everything is done by us, right? So the thing is, it's very, very interesting one also. So if you assign certain work to your student side, definitely they will get motivated and they will be able to do a lot of applications, right? So you can also see that I want to download, okay, the file which is associated with that, and the time zone which I want to add is 5.30 for the Indian continent, right? Subcontinent. So 5.30 Kolkata or Chennai. And if I click download, I will be able to get a CSV file the CSV file will contain the timestamp along with the various values populated. This is what, right? You can see the current value today, 7/5/21. Okay. And if you want to verify whether the value given by MATLAB is the actual value, we can also do a simple calculation using the formula available in the Excel. It's a very lengthy one, right? Okay. So instead of that, we can directly type that it says 134. Okay. So the thing may be certain duration of the data will be calculated that you can check later, right? Okay. So either you can have field 1 only we taken, right? Field 1. There are a lot of values in the field 1. It was taken from 5/4. That is 2018 onwards, right? This channel is available and we have a lot of values, right? All the values are available in a CSV file, comma separated value file. Through the Excel formula, you can do analytics, or through the MATLAB, right? Facilities provided in the ThinkSpeak, you can do that. So this is one of the best tool for the beginners through which you can do a lot of work related with the cloud. So with this, right, I will conclude the integration of end device with IoT cloud. Any queries or any questions from your side before closing? All these things were also given in this slide properly. Each and every step is given in this slide. So if you go through this slide, definitely you will be able to get better understanding of integration of end device with IoT.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Before concluding, can any one of you quickly give an idea what we had discussed for today's session? Now the time is 4:45. Okay, we are going to close the session. Before closing the session, right? Any one of you, right? Give a quick idea of what we discussed today.
Sir, we have discussed about MQTT and CoAP. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are audible, sir. Please.
Yeah, we discussed about MQTT, CoAP, and WebSocket, and the differences we have seen among this, and the demonstrations of these three protocols we have seen. This is what done in the last 3 sessions. And
Okay.
First session I was late, sir. I joined late.
Okay. So in the first session, we discussed about the identification, device management, service discovery, and the service management also. They are also very, very important in the aspect of IoT. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your concluding speech. I will take another few minutes. Because one of the professor made a request about during the pandemic situations, how to proceed with the simulator. Sir, please make a note of that. Cisco Packet Tracer is a powerful tool for the IoT simulation. You can have Arduino, you can have Raspberry Pi, you can write Python code, you can write Arduino code using the Cisco Packet Tracer. Lot of sensors are available. You can test a wonderful IoT applications making use of Cisco Packet Tracer. Please make a note of that. This is the screenshot for the Cisco Packet Tracer. And if you see, there are a lot of devices are available. For example, if you need microcontroller, you can have a microcontroller board. If you need Raspberry Pi single board computer, you can have a single board computer. If you need any thin board, which is one important platform, you can have. And there are a lot of sensors, actuators also. For example,
sir, is this tool open?
Free, open, is a freeware. It is available at free of cost.
Okay, sir.
That is why I'm introducing that. It is totally free of cost. And the only thing is you have to register. You can see a lot of sensors, right? Lot of sensors and actuators are available. Okay. For example, I can show you one, right? Button, switch. Okay, push button. Whatever you need, you can have. Right? Moisture sensor, motion sensor, everything is available here. It is one of the very good tools. Yeah.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Sir, think that I need to design a turn on and turn off of LED by using Arduino microcontroller.
Okay.
So
sir.
can I able to implement by using this Cisco Packet Tracer, sir?
100% you can do. I will give you the sample code also.
Okay, sir.
That is a very good tutorial through the coordinator, ma'am, right? Give me a day time because tomorrow Gautam sir will handle the AWS IoT. Before his session closing, right? I will be able to bundle all these items and then share the drive to coordinator, ma'am, right? So from them, you can collect all the materials related with the Cisco Packet Tracer, related with CoWAP, WebSocket, MQTT, Arduino, as well as Node MCU. All the things, right, will be neatly organized in the Google Drive, and then I will share the drive. For the Cisco Packet Tracer also, we have a very good tutorial. You can refer that.
Sir.
Yes, sir, please.
Hello, sir.
Please, sir.
Sir, if you have done some demonstrations or case studies using Cisco Packet Tracer, then it will be more nicer. Because I think if we install this tool and if we are get ready with this tool, then if you demonstrate some use cases, in parallel we are also doing the same, then I think it will be useful, sir.
Okay. In any one of the sessions, right, during the assignment session, if the coordinator ma'am plans, right, then I will give a 1.5 hour session or half an hour session.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I will discuss with the ma'am. Okay. And it depends on the availability free slot. I'm happy to do that. And one more simulator before closing is called UnoArduSim. Okay. This is another simulator for the basic Arduino program. Okay. You can also make use of the simulator for testing any sensors, actuators, right? So we had introduced to two more simulator. One is a powerful Cisco Packet Tracer for IoT simulation. Another is the UnoArduSim. So with that, I will conclude from my side. And if there are any queries, I'm happy to answer. The forum is opened to the participant side. First of all, I thank the principal, management, head of the department, ISTE and the AICTE, as well as the program coordinator, Dr. Padmavati Madam, for giving us a wonderful chance to interact with the professors community. I'm really to thank to all the organizers and the participants for their patience, listening and participation and their interactions. Thank you all. Take care. Thank you from my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And we feel very fortunate, sir, to have a very good session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I will furnish the necessary information also, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your motivation, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. I will furnish all the data through a Google Drive to you, ma'am.
So good evening, all. Okay, sir. So today we are at the end of today's session. So I take this opportunity, short vote of thanks to Atukar and all the parts. So first of all, I want to thank Dr. Anand sir. Very informative and very beautiful way you have conducted today's session. Like you have covered all the topics that IoT, that is identification of device management, human application access to things. Yes, madam? Okay. And also you have explained about human user application access and things like how we can interact by using our systems, and very well explained about the management and many use cases shown of WS-i4 managed, and very understandable, and about MQTT, HTTP core socket and all practical implementation was very well reached, and nice hands-on experience we got, sir. And also I want and also keeping the session very interactive. I also thank all the participants for actively attending the session, today's session. I thank all the coordinators of FDP also for their support for making this session successful. So thank you once again. Thank you very much, Dr. Anantha Narayan sir, and all the participants once again. So I declare that today's session is over.
Thank you, madam. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Madam,
everyone.
do we have any quiz, madam?
Yes, sir.
Do we have quiz, madam, now?
Yeah.
Today there is no any assignment, sir. Tomorrow we will share assignment. Because today and tomorrow, all these sessions are related to cloud computing. That's why tomorrow evening we will share assignment.
Madam, do we have any exam, madam, today?
No, sir. Today there is no any exam. Am I not audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Thank you
ma'am.
all.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you all. I am signing off from the meeting. Thank you all. Take care of you and take care of your family members also. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, sir.